Who says which clock?
We have a motion to call the meeting to order.
Motion to call the meeting to order.
Kathy.
61.
Hello, welcome, come on in.
Cassie.
Cassie.
And second.
Anybody second?
I need a second.
Kristen.
Yep.
Yep. Okay, roll call.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Neva.
That's me.
Karen. Alexander. It's not here. Cassandra.
Here.
Conley.
Okay.
Debbie.
Here.
Cheryl.
Here.
Kristen.
Here.
All right.
Oh, that's what I was thinking.
We need a motion to approve the agenda. Does everybody have a chance to look it over? As everyone just sounds
It's really intense.
Oh, there's so many things on there.
Yeah.
I would like to add one item of business. I went through our minutes to make sure they had all been approved.
Yeah.
And I'm missing a set of minutes from August 4th, that I was out of town that night.
Okay, I think that's the one that Kristen had, right, that you took?
Mm-hmm.
Do you have them?
Yep. Yep, we went over those and we dismissed them,
You just have it that you can send to her so she can.
Yeah, you have
okay,
anything in the
that's what we
sending,
need.
okay. But we didn't approve, May 5th, July 7th, August 27th, September 8th, 10th, and then we have the two for tonight.
Okay.
Just add that as an agenda item.
Okay.
Karen, which dates again? Just August 14th?
I'm missing August 4th, that Kristen will send us.
Okay.
And then we need to approve May 5th,
Okay.
July 7th, 8/27, or August 27th, and September 8th. And then we'll approve the October ones tonight as well.
Okay.
So I did send that in an email. I've been trying to alert you through texts that, hey, we have a meeting, hey, read your emails, and please don't reply to the text, because it's a group text, so. And nobody has replied, so thank you for that.
So you want to add that to old business, or is that considered in the approval of minutes?
Yeah.
So
I'll
can-
just tack that on in the minutes when I type them up.
Okay. Do we need to have a motion to approve the addition to that, or is that okay with the approval of the agenda?
That would be in this meeting's minutes. You'll tack them onto this meeting.
To this meeting's minutes, I will tack on
Yeah,
these.
so you just need to approve the minutes from 10/8 and 10/20.
Okay.
And then we'll figure out where the other ones are.
Do you have a copy?
Well,
of
I'm not
those?
missing those, we haven't
They
approved
They just
them.
need approved. Got it.
Right,
I
I'm
got that
only
in my
missing
notes.
one set of minutes. Yeah.
Do we need copies of those so that they can be approved?
I have copies right here, and when I sent the email, I
I
said,
know you
check
had
your
them.
emails.
Yeah, I've seen them, but I didn't know if anybody else
Yeah.
hadn't had a chance to see them before we can approve them or not. Does anybody need to look them over before we can approve the minutes from those dates? And just not the minuets, but the minutes?
Oh, it is. That's pretty cool, isn't it?
But we do this thing, so that makes sense why we would do that.
from the 8th to the 20th.
Yeah, so they had emailed out, or Karen had emailed out those minutes, so everybody could look at them, so we could get them approved for tonight. Do you have a chance to look at them?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Did anybody need to look over them before we can approve those tonight? Okay, making sure. So then, do we just need a motion to approve them? Okay.
Individually or?
No, it just can be, I believe, we can just be a motion from, and a seconded. That
Unless
everybody's
there,
okay.
unless there's something.
Unless there's
that needs to be
somebody, is there anything that you need to
changed.
change it, or changed, see, or updated? Once, twice, okay. Do we have a motion to approve them then, those two sets?
A motion to approve the minutes?
Who was that?
That's Cassie. Give
Cassie?
a second, please.
Who seconded?
That was Conley. Sorry, we're just trying to make sure we're staying in legit, yes, balance, everything we're supposed to be doing, and some of that I'm running along the way and some of it Karen is, so we're just trying to make sure we go back and keep all exactly how we're supposed to. For all of that. So have we getting approval of this agenda though? I just wanna make sure I go back.
Oh, did we do that? No, we did not.
Okay, that's what I think we were just talking about that, so I just wanna make sure we
Right.
go back.
That was the addition to the agenda, was
Yes.
to approve those additional sets of minutes?
Yes.
Gotcha.
Okay. And so we need a motion for item 2.
Right, to approve the agenda, please.
Debbie,
Okay.
second?
I can second it. Kathy?
Yes, a second. I need a new pen, mine is not, only has not ink.
Here you go.
Pen number 2 today.
Fantastic.
Woohoo! Thank you.
Wait, I'm sorry, I got confused. So from the 20th, that's considered an official meeting?
Yes, it was still a meeting.
Yes, it just was not a regular meeting, it was a special meeting.
Even though not everyone was present?
Right, we had a,
We were kind of just playing.
we had a quorum, so that's what we needed to have.
Okay, there you go. Unless you're very opinionated. No, I decorations on the party. And she likes math better.
Oh, you don't like my pen.
Rude.
Did that make sense? That it was a called special meeting?
Yeah, I was like, I just didn't remember that, but I wasn't there, so.
Yeah.
Neither was I.
Okay, yeah. It's like, okay, hold on a second.
Did you have a chance to look at those minutes though, right, in the email that Karen sent out?
Yes.
So we have an approval for the agenda, we need to, and I just wanna double check to make sure this is right, since we just now approved the agenda, do we need to go back and reapprove the minuets, since we were technically hadn't approved the agenda yet?
We can certainly
Just
do
point of
that.
order to make sure that I'm.
There you go.
Should I
Colleen
be
and Kathy, are
searching
you okay to-
minuets?
Yeah, oh, I can reapprove. I can re-motion to reapprove.
Okay.
Again.
All right, thank you. Don't have to
Just
change
wanna
that.
make sure we're doing it in the right order.
All right.
Alright. And then we have the playground design day discussion. So we're gonna go back over what we kind of just recovered what we did on the 20th and then, and where we're at, status update for all that and added stuff, kind of talk back through that day, what it looks like. So I want everybody to be on the same page with that, specifically.
And that is going to be November the 20th and 21st.
Yes.
The 21st. Well,
The 20th itself is not much, they're just coming in,
she'll be here,
she'll be here.
but depending on flights or, I don't actually know if she's flying or driving, she has not updated me on that. But
So the 21st is the party.
Yes,
the-
that's actually a design
reveal.
day, yeah. So the 21st, the plan, for that day is that she will be at the school. We'll do she'll have all the stuff that's gonna be submitted by, the community, and then all the stuff that the kids do and the interviews that'll happen at the school to take into account, to come back, to work on the design. The walkthrough of the park itself is that day,
yeah,
right?
yeah, I have it scheduled if you want.
Oh, you wanna just read it? 'Cause I'll be on-
I got one for everyone if everyone
Oh,
wants.
great.
I think it's a lot easier. I have one in my email.
I realized it's too late to send it to Matt to have it printed, so.
Thank you.
Oh, so it's not in color again?
It's not in
See.
color again. I know, it's awful. Yeah, so Lisa will get here on the evening of the 20th at some point, but she does not have anything scheduled for that because I don't know when she's getting here. But she'll check into the Airbnb and stay. And then on the morning of the 21st, we'll go over to the site. She has that scheduled for 8:30 currently. We will need Thomas to be there for that because she wants someone from the 21st. 8:30 a.m. is currently. So do you want to schedule that? I have an extra one since Alice isn't here.
I'll grab it right after the meeting. Thank you.
I can also email it to you. And then after we do this site meeting, we will go over to the school. I think we have all our volunteers for that now, yes?
I believe so.
Okay, so we are covered on that. We'll go over to the school, get set up. She'll go over with those who are going over there and volunteering to help with the interviews to do that, and then we will interview the kids. Interviews take about 13 minutes per classroom.
How many classrooms?
There are 18, so we have 6 of us going in total. We've got 2 volunteers that I'm very excited about, and then I'll say hi. And then Neva, Karen, and myself also volunteered to go. So we will go and talk to the kids and say whatever Lisa tells us to say. And then at 11, after that is done, we will go somewhere to be determined, possibly one of our homes, and go over the feedback. And then Lisa will take all of the feedback and the other feedback that we've gotten from non-Chisholm the Trail kids, because we're going to open that up to have kids from the rest of the community, of course, also offer ideas. So she'll take all of that back and work on that at the Airbnb until 4:30, at which point we will have a committee meeting, which would be anyone who is either heading up one of the committees,
The volunteer
the volunteer committees, or anyone who's just interested in helping with the playgrounds can come to that meeting from 4:30 to 5:30.
But the community room is not available for any of
The community room is not available at lunchtime. You remember what time we have it starting at?
I want to say 4, but I'll check with.
We have the community room in time to start setting up for the party. We just don't have it prior to that. So
I
I think
there's
it's
like,
available like at 3 or 3:30.
Yeah,
There
there's
is a
like
meeting
a-
earlier in the day, but
yeah,
it'll be ready for you.
yeah.
Matt, can we use this room?
If we need to, like for a community meeting.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
more for the,
that-
meet with the designer.
Meet with the designer.
For the
Yeah, or you can
volunteers.
use our conference room in there too.
okay,
Yeah.
because there
That's
would
probably
only be
more-
6 of us.
that's
for
more
that one,
conducive.
so.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can you block that off for us then?
Mhm.
Perfect.
So is the 11 o'clock meeting available for any of the members to meet
The
with?
conference or the 11 o'clock meeting is just for volunteers who went to the school to debrief what we talked about at the school at that point.
I think that's
I
just
mean,
for us to give her the
Yeah,
information that we
to
got.
share.
So nothing like for personal information or something like that. It's just for us to give her the information from the interviews, if that makes sense.
And there won't be a majority of us, since I think Neve and I are the only technical members of the park board going, so it's not an official. Yeah. But yeah, the 4:30 to 5:30 meeting, anyone would be welcome to come to. I was questioning how that would work if we do end up with a quorum of park board members. We would have to call it an official meeting. I'm assuming people won't come to that. So.
Yeah, I wanna come to the 4:30.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I just didn't know what the logistics on that was for
Quorum, you mean if there's 4 of us?
Yes.
not counting Karen, because she's an ex aficionado.
So if we're all gonna be in that meeting,
If you're all there just to observe and you're not discussing any like business together, you'll be okay. And I'll
Okay,
verify.
I'm not.
I'll verify that.
Yeah, I don't know if it's mostly Lisa gonna be talking at us or if it's gonna be like a discussion. So I can find
I
out.
would imagine the things that we would be talking about are scheduling, logistic stuff as well, potentially cost.
Maybe I don't know if she'll tell us that before the reveal, since I don't think we're gonna get to see it before the reveal either.
Yeah.
But and then we will set up after or during that meeting, before that meeting, at some point, pretty much whenever it becomes available, we might have to start setting up.
Yeah.
But we'll set up for the reveal celebration, which is starting at 6:30, and then Lisa will do her reveal at 7.
That's the 21st.
The
21st.
21st.
Which is that?
Okay,
Which is
I hate to conjure up anything heinous, but did I miss, was it like officially said that nothing has to be, there, like the thing that Karen and I were freaked out about, the 3 things getting brought before city council?
So we had that whole discussion in the meeting on the 8th, right, where we all had the information that that's not something that's necessary. And I believe we all kind of stopped and said, are we all very clear on that? Does anybody have any questions about that? Moving forward, we don't need
sent out the email that was like, asked everyone, you asked everyone their opinion, and then
Their opinion on,
if anything needs to be brought up.
right. Beyond something we had already discussed, and everyone had already agreed that we were good on. So do you have more questions about that, particularly about why we don't have to get the 3 bids? Is that what you're saying?
No, I just.
Because you had asked me a question in email, I had responded, and you never emailed me back ever again about it. So I didn't know if there was,
Yeah, because I was going to be at because that was the day before the meeting.
okay.
And so I'm just asking, was that talked about and all?
No, because we had already had that discussion, right? So you had said, I really feel like we still need to go back and get approval for some bids.
We brought
right?
it up to be talked about before before this meeting, before November. If we talked about it at the November 8th,
October
or
8th.
I mean October 8th,
Right.
whatever today is, sorry, at that meeting, and so this is the next meeting, because I didn't
Okay.
meet
Does
this.
anybody else have that same understanding? Because I thought the understanding was, and that will help me if I'm incorrect about that we had this discussion. We all
We
understood
did
why
have
we
this
didn't have to
discussion,
we didn't have to move forward
But
anymore.
I think some of us still struggle with the idea that we're supposed to take 3 bids,
I-
but that's been overridden.
Well, it's not overridden, it's just not necessary. There's not an override of something that happened,
Not
right?
required in this case.
That's not something that's required of us
It's
to
just
do.
not needed.
Right. It's not needed to be done. I think that's kind of what we've gone over a few times, and I mean, and also correct me if I'm wrong, and I asked and said, does everybody understand that? And we're okay to move forward,
Well, I
right?
understand it, but doesn't
Right.
mean I agree with it.
Well, it doesn't really, I mean, agreeing and not agreeing doesn't matter when it's actually not something that's required to be done, according to what the city has approved, what they run by, what they do, what the legality of it is. So no matter how uncertain we feel about it, it's legally and what's being told to us is that's not necessary, and
Basically, what we're saying is that it's just the way it is.
Okay, so I
No,
just.
this board,
Because it's, the wording of it is legally that we don't need 3 bids.
this board is an advisory board that recommends it to the city council. If the city council determines upon the recommendation that they need additional bids, then we can do it at that time. But we're not violating any policies by what we're
No.
doing right now.
We're advisory.
So then, may I ask a question? So then, with the election being tomorrow, when do the new council, if council members change, when does that happen?
The first meeting in December.
The new council members would be there? I was just curious if anything was gonna be done before then, or are we waiting until after the council to it be presented?
No, it's just business as usual, yeah.
Okay, well, I was just curious.
I don't know when the next city council meeting after the November 1st design stuff is.
November 21st. It's that.
It's this, not this Thursday, but the following Thursday.
Yeah, but
Yeah, but that would be before the design.
that would,
We don't have
Oh,
one,
the November meeting is the
Yeah.
13th.
is the 13th, and then we don't have a second one in November, because that's
Because of
Thanksgiving,
Thanksgiving.
so it'd be in
So it would be the
December.
December meeting.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
okay.
well, I was just curious.
And, I mean, whatever happens, the election still doesn't override what we have to do,
No,
right? So that's why we had kind of already said it wasn't necessary for us to have to do that.
Well, I was just curious if we were gonna be presenting it to the board before
They switched over.
they switched over, if we would have to represent it.
Shouldn't have to. I mean, it's still in there. It's kind of, it's their duty to go back and see and
It's
align themselves with what's already been done and discussed and do all of that.
yeah,
I was just
it's
curious.
recorded in the minutes of each
Yeah.
meeting.
Does that answer your question, John?
Yes, yep.
Just want to make sure. Okay, so going back to the design day stuff, which is kind of what we're on right now. Does this schedule make sense to everybody? Do you have any questions about the specific schedule, anything that's going on?
So when it says down here at 6:50, introduction by general coordinator, is that the person from Play by Design?
No, that should be either Neva or I. Since we are co-coordinating for the way they have their committee set up. you're so good at talking in front of people.
You're so good at learning new things.
So when the new design is unveiled, is that written in stone that this is what it's gonna be? This is just like a suggestion?
Correct.
It is, yes, a firm signature.
So here's, yes, from my perspective, what I'm seeing and the experience, what I've just seen from what they've done and stuff like that is, they're saying, here's what we would like to create. You can, now we have to figure out within our budget, how much of that can we create, right? So there are some things we could say, we don't like that, we're not going to do that, because we're not required to build what they're presenting, but they're going to give us an overall.
Will there also be the overall price?
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
What budget?
Huh?
What budget?
So
We don't know what our budget is
Okay.
because we're gonna
Here,
talk
hold on.
about.
I know, but hold on. Let's stay within where we're at right now. So, what I don't want us to do is start getting off in the weeds of that part yet, right?
Mhm.
They're going to give us all that money, then we have to take that and say, and go to the city council and say, here's what they're suggesting, here's the total amount for it, and then city council will let us know what of that is going to be available, and then we'll decide from that how much do we want to do and based off of fundraising and kind of all of that. So that's a discussion we can have. Just right now, it's hypothetical enough that it's not going to.
It's just a bid.
Right.
Yeah, so they'll tell us how much what they design will cost, which is based on like the preliminary one they gave us. And then, we'll go to city council and city council says, we'll give you $300,000 and we say, okay, do we wanna raise the other, whatever the rest is, do we wanna do whatever, and even they've said before, like if we get to, like the 10 to 12 weeks before build and we're like, well, we're still short $50,000 short, we don't see us coming up with that in the next whatever, we can cut some at that point. Or if we could do what Augusta did and raise an additional $150,000 and add stuff at the last minute.
Why
It's
are we
all
so
messy
obsessed with
grand.
Augusta?
That's just because
It's
those
just
two
the
they
same
built
person
at the
who
same
did
It's the
time.
same, and they've done the most recent one near here. It's not an obsession so much as being
It's just a
informed
reference.
about
Did
how
they
it
do
was
it
done.
in Winsburg?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, cause I saw the sign that said built by the community, so I was like, it kinda sounds similar, yeah.
As well. So, going back again, this day specifically, what else on here do you have questions about, of what's happening that day?
Have we taken care of getting the snacks and whatever else, or is that something we still
That's
need?
something we're gonna go over.
But, yes.
That's what we
I'm-
discussed at the 20th meeting is we talked
We're
about.
gonna do updates about where all that is at too.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Just write that down just so I don't forget. Does anybody else want to come to the school and help that day, or is available to come to the school that day and help? I don't think more people is bad.
Yeah, she just told me she wanted 3 groups of 2, so
So at least that many.
at least that many. One person will take notes, one person will talk in front of a bunch of children.
Oh, I'll do the notes.
I kind of assumed you would.
Okay, so it's kind of a good, fair thing. Now, about the specifics about I'll get to the party in just a second. I wanna talk about, the next steps of getting more designs and things like that, cause I felt like there was a lot of confusion around that for people too. And I know I grabbed one from out there, but if you haven't seen it, if you didn't have the chance to see it in the email that Cassie had sent, we do have so there's one that's going to the school that looks just like this, different wording, obviously. That's fine. There is the one that's going out to the Kechi community specifically. That's going to be available here. I've talked to some of the churches and some of the businesses. They're going to put them in their stores and stuff as well, to make sure we're trying to reach as many people as possible. As well as we'll have social media posts that will go out this week about that. To give some more context and information. I know we did the movie night. We did hand everything out at the Halloween thing. I had a chance to stop and talk to some people that evening as well. I know Karen talked to some people when she was handing stuff out to kind of get it out as well. And I apologize if that wasn't. I felt like it was very wide, or at least like given information in that meeting we had on the 8th. But it feels like that maybe it wasn't. So I'm want to just make sure that we all understand what the process for that is. That all that anyone has to do is just look, they can take any piece of paper, it doesn't have to be like a form or anything, and have their kiddos draw, or people in general, like I'm gonna put one up, like, I really would like to see this, I wanna see this. And give their design ideas, and we're giving all of them to the designer, and she will go through it, through the whole thing. The reason that we started with the schools, because they need to have that stuff super fast. And the other reason we were I felt like we were waiting a little bit was because we didn't want to be taking that stuff in, have the chance to not have it organized and lose something or not have it all ready to go. So that should go out this week. I've got a social media post that's ready to get put up as well. We've got stuff that's going to go back in the billing again. We've got stuff that's going to, do you have an update for the lamp? What's going on with that?
I've got
My
the
article was
right
in the
here.
paper
Okay, I haven't
today.
gotten it.
I'm very
I haven't gotten my
concerned
mail
that
yet
Cheryl
today.
highlighted things.
Yes, I did.
We can come back to that. There was an article in the Land today.
Yes.
Well, you might as well do it now. 'Cause
Yeah,
that's gonna be part of it.
so I just wanna air a few things that have been very confusing. And people that, of course, you know, I've been out in the community.
Sure.
Talking with lots of people.
Mhm.
And there's been lots of confusion.
Sure.
So one of the things that has really come up several times is that, so there's been like, and this just I just saw this today.
It just came out.
Right, so, one of the, this happened to be this was on this post, okay? And Jeremiah Burian, so the design has already been decided, but now shared, and then there was some talk back and forth about that, you know. And then there was a comment here that said, to someone that asked a question about, will there be a public design input time in the community room on the 21st for those Kechi families whose children don't attend Chisholm Trail Elementary? And the answer was that the designer has not allotted a time for public input.
She has not allotted a meeting time for the public to come in and give input. No, that is correct.
Right, well, I'm just reading it verbatim.
Sure.
The designer has not allotted a time for public input.
Right.
And so when I have talked to, several people came up to me saying, what do you mean? They're going to Chisholm Trail, but they're not going to talk to the people in the community?
And that would have been a great time to say, yes, we are, absolutely, and here's how we're gonna do that, which is what we had discussed
Right,
on the 8th,
let
right?
me answer,
Okay.
please.
Yeah, no, you're fine, I'm sorry, I apologize, you paused, so I just thought you had a moment there.
So, you know, I said, you know, well, the times that I know of that we're gonna be is that we have gone, and the times that we talked about was that we were gonna be at movie night,
Mhm.
and that we were going to be, at, what was the other one? Oh, at Halloween.
Right.
And I was at both of those events.
Mhm.
And there really wasn't a lot of commotion about that.
Well, I will take absolute offense to the fact that
We
you
walked
just said, hold
around
on, Cass,
Sorry.
that you're saying that there wasn't something at movie night.
I'm
Because,
not
no,
saying
hold
that
on,
there
no,
wasn't
you
anything
just
there.
said there wasn't information there, but hold on,
A
I let you,
commotion.
hold on.
I said there wasn't a lot of commotion.
I let you speak now, let me
Yeah.
answer that one particular part. I do feel like there was a lot of commotion about it, because we had multiple of us there with flyers going up to almost every single person I possibly could to have a actual conversation.
Really, at Halloween?
No,
I was
No,
there.
no,
I'm
you just said
I didn't
movie night, hold on.
At Halloween?
I was there at
walked through with
Halloween.
my kids, but
I
Caitlin
walked through,
was
I
definitely
went
not
through
one.
City Hall, I sat out at that table for quite a while. I went over to the church, I sat out there for quite a while, spoke to people there as well. But for movie night specifically, and saying there wasn't a commotion, we were there speaking to every family that came in.
And gave them a flyer.
And handed them a flyer, had conversations, said, please let me know whatever questions you have, I'd I'd love to talk more about this with you. We've handed all of that out, right? The same thing at Halloween. We had it set up where everything was going into the bag for
Yep.
people. There's more information. We were talking to people as well. But here's the other thing. If there wanted to be a bigger presence at the Halloween thing, nobody else stepped up and volunteered to do that.
What I'm saying though is that there's 2,400 people here
There
in
are.
this town.
Absolutely.
They weren't there. There was
And nobody is saying that though. Here's the thing, we haven't said that. So did you hear me just talk about the
There
fact?
doesn't need to be
Hold on.
yelling, actually.
Are you yelling?
There doesn't need to
I'm-
be.
I'm not
any-
yelling.
Any raising of the voice.
Nobody's yelling though.
Okay, we'll just bring it
Here's
down.
the
What
thing.
I'm saying is
Bring it
that
down.
there's not 23 or 2,400 people
You're
at
right.
the Halloween event
You're right.
or the movie event.
Which is the conversation we were literally walking into right now that I just said. I just said the next conversation was gonna be about the next steps about how we're going to inform the community.
Right, but what I am trying to tell you is that I've been walking around for the last 2 weeks talking to people, and they are coming up to me and saying, I've been listening to this.
And did you say at that point, yes, we are. We have a layout that's coming out. We've got some information. Here's what I know. We're gonna have this form. Here's the paper. Here's how you can submit information. Is that the conversation that you had?
Would you listen to me? Or you
I'm
guys
asking you,
talk?
no, I'm asking you to clarify. Because what I'm hearing is that,
You're
Yeah,
not hearing anything.
Okay.
All you're doing is talking.
okay, go ahead.
And what I'm saying is that I don't have this information.
I think what she's trying to say is the people that are coming to her have not had the experience of being at the Halloween or movie night to get this information, and they feel kind of left out.
They do feel left out. And you know what? I feel left out. Because you know what? All the information I have is that there's gonna be we're gonna have flyers at Halloween and at, the movie night.
And I personally was at neither one of those.
Can I ask a question? I feel that the park board has done a great job at putting this out. It's been on social media. We have flyers up here at City Hall. I know there's been a presence at park movie at the PD. The Halloween event. I'm just listening to this
You know
discussion.
what more I needed?
Give me just a second. Let me finish my comment here. What else do you think we could do, or the park board could do, to reach those other people?
Well,
Give me a suggestion.
right here. Play by Design, park designer, will be in town talking to locals on November 20th.
Yeah, he
Uh-huh.
is incorrect.
And the preliminary design will be revealed the following day. If I would have known that, that would have been really fantastic. I could have told half of this town that.
Except for he's not right in that.
Yeah, he was incorrect. I did not say that in our interview. I said that she would be there the 21st, talking to the kids, and that we would have design forms available for kids at City Hall. He misquoted.
Well, this would have been a great thing for everybody. This would have been fantastic. This is what we needed to have happen.
They come out once a month, Cheryl. What was I supposed to do? I can't make the newspaper come out
No,
sooner.
no. We needed for the designer to be here the 20th.
Available on the
Okay.
We
But
needed the local
that's not their
to be here.
process. The way that they're able to design, the way that they do it, which we've talked about multiple times, is that they take the information that people submit by drawing and doing things like that. That's how you give your recommendations. This is not about the park itself, right? It's only about this equipment. The playground equipment, not the park, not the rest of it,
Right.
just this equipment,
Right, just
okay?
the equipment.
But we had said this is what was going to happen. We laid it out
When,
in the
so,
meeting.
well, how are our residents supposed to know?
That's what we're talking about right now. We were not able to, we didn't have all that stuff finalized, the times and all of that.
They needed to be finalized before we started telling,
There was not a way,
Before we started telling what?
before the meeting, the last meeting. We needed to know this. We needed to know this.
we need to know, okay, hold on, I wanna clarify, we need to know what
We didn't-
specifically.
You don't go and tell Chisholm, school, and the kids that and the rest of the park board that, oh yeah, we're gonna be there, and you know what? We're gonna invite Bel Air, and we're gonna invite, Park City for their input, and you don't tell, hey, we don't even know how we're gonna invite the input for Kechi residents.
We did, and we had that discussion in our meetings. We specifically talked about how we were going to do that.
Oh, really? And
Yes.
how was it?
We said that we were going to make those flyers, we were going to make sure they were available at City Hall, we were going to post them online, we even had a discussion about how we were going to receive that information back as well, and then we asked Cassie to make the flyers.
Post it, giving them right here, having them posted online is not gonna do
We
it.
were putting out information about how to do it in the bill, trying to put information out in the land, all the things that are the biggest ways of communicating to do that. But those are also only monthly things that we're able to do at a certain amount of times. So, but here's my other concern is that you're telling me that you didn't have the information to tell them. The only
Right,
information that
I
we
know
had
that, yeah.
was that they were going to be able to submit their design. That was the only, and that's still the only information that we have to give them. It's the only information that we gave to Chisholm Trail. There was gonna be a design day, she was gonna come down, we're gonna interview the kiddos, which we actually had talked about in our meeting. We even said what the process was gonna be.
Yeah.
Do you feel like that didn't happen? You don't remember that? What, I mean,
No,
I feel like this, from what I have heard from people, is the city of Kechi
Mhm.
is feeling left out
Yes.
on input. And they are
Definitely.
frustrated
Sure.
that Bel Air and Park City.
Where's the Bel Air and Park City coming from? The only thing that it says in the lamp is that we would hope that residents from outside of Kechi would help us come build. We did not say we were getting feedback from anybody else other than the kids at the school, because I can't sort them out. Like, we're not gonna take just the Kechi kids out to interview them. That would be weird.
Well,
I
I'm
don't-
just telling you what I heard, is that Bel Air.
But
and
where are
Park-
people getting that from?
Obviously,
It's gotta be.
And then my question is then, what's the conversation that you're having is, this is also part of the thing of our discussion later, but I feel like we're giving a lot of information in the meetings. And what keeps coming back is I didn't know that, I didn't hear that, I didn't understand that. So is there an underlying reason why we feel like that keeps happening? Because I feel like I knew all the same information that everybody else did, and nothing more than anyone else did. We had all the same information that Cassie had. She'd been giving notes. She gave us the book, all that stuff to go through that kind of said what the process was. We had the last meeting. We talked through what the process was going to be. I sent out this flyer talking about it. We put the information out there. I will tell you, I've not had one person come up and ask me a question. Not one.
Probably not. It does seem like a Cassie Neva, like it's like your park.
Well,
like
It's
you-
not
Tell us how.
communicating
Tell us
outside.
Tell us why you're feeling like that.
Well, because I don't know, but I did, that was my fault, I missed the impromptu meeting, but I feel like even though it was, if there's a, for lack of a better word, overridden, for it being 3 companies brought
It's
before.
not overridden. We're not going to use it because it wasn't overridden.
Well,
It was never the
that's- I
situation.
said for lack of.
Well, I know, but I didn't want to even put that out there as that was the situation, right? Because it wasn't.
Okay. If that was I don't know what the original rules were, if that was that the original rule, is that why that's a thing, or?
So what does that have to do with feeling like it was Cassie and I's park? Though? That's what I'm trying to find out. Is what has happened that makes you feel like
Well, I
it's
mean,
just a park for Cassie and that Cassie and I are
well,
doing?
because you decide that it didn't need to be a 3.
I didn't decide anything. No.
3 proposal.
But hold on, I didn't decide anything. That's according to the rules from the city. Right, that's according to what the city has set forward. That has nothing to do with me. I didn't
what
decide
was
anything.
the word that
Nothing
you
has
used,
been
Matt, that it's
happening.
because it's this type of a company? What was the word?
It's a sole source.
It's a sole source.
Which is, that's not true either.
But okay, here's the thing. I don't want to go back and re-argue that. Because regardless of how we feel about it, It is not the situation, and it's not stuff that's according to the rules of the city that the city follows.
Well,
So-
to answer your question again, I just feel like you guys have, I feel like you've had full control of everything, and then it's like, no, Cassie, I got this, or no, Neva, I got that, and it's like you guys.
Is there something you felt like you didn't get to be involved in? Like that you wanted to volunteer for that we told you no,
No, I'm just
or?
stating exactly what I'm saying.
But that's what I'm saying is how do we help you not feel like that? Because we've asked multiple times if people want to take things over, what committees people want to be on, what can we do? We want people to be involved. When we asked who would like to be a lot of things and stuff like that, the only people that stepped up were certain. So it doesn't have to do with like Cassie and I doing that.
Well, as a board, I mean, it wasn't, this Play by Design wasn't the only one that we all liked.
It was not, but we all voted and came to an agreement that you were involved in. That said, yes, we're going to go with this group, we're going to move forward with that. So at that point, if you did not agree with that, you had the chance to say it, which I believe you did. We all discussed it, and multiple times, and again, correct me if I'm wrong, we said, we all feel good about moving forward with this company, and everyone said yes.
Yeah, well, what's 6-1?
What does that matter? You said, I'm good with that. I very pointedly asked you, because I understand that you had strong feelings about it. So I wanted to make sure you had the chance to speak about any issue or concern that you had at that moment before we made that decision. And we gave people time. We narrowed it down, and then we did it again, even after that. So I had felt like that we had all had a very big discussion about it, and then all came to an agreement, which is what we asked for,
Well,
and did.
I brought up the fact that, well, since there was finally the equipment design that you guys wanted to go for, like the homemade look, and then, because that hadn't been established yet, this was probably in, I don't know, September, that meeting happened, and then I feel like it hasn't, there just wasn't any other, we just went with it, and it wasn't actually concrete, like, but now all of a sudden it is, it's like in the paper.
Did you not understand that that company, that was the type of equipment that they built, like when we presented it, like that didn't translate to you, that you understood that? Is that what you're saying? Like that's what it was gonna look like, or that was?
You don't have to talk to me or try to translate.
No, I'm just saying, what I'm
to.
trying to figure out is, because what I heard you just say was that you didn't know that it was going to look like this and be, and like the way that it was gonna, or what their overall design, I guess, situation is.
Yeah, like once we found out a type of equipment that we wanted, the same companies, I mean, could have had that same equipment, essentially.
But that's not accurate about this builder. I think that, and that's one thing we covered pretty extensively, I mean, I feel like, and about that this builder specifically created this design and these elements and things like that around this design, and it's not something that another company could duplicate. Because it's not a duplicate, we just go out and can just pick this slide section and just, that's what we do.
And we don't wanna talk about it being, whether or not it's a sole source thing, again, I don't wanna, talk about that either, cause it's not, and that was like harped on super hard. So I don't wanna, get into that, but, no, that's, so I think I made my point is that I felt like you guys just had, you and Cassie just had like most of the reins the last few months is.
And so help me understand like what we can do to help you not feel like that.
I don't know. I don't know if you guys talk outside of here or if you don't.
But what can we do to help you feel less like it's just a Cassie and I thing? Would you like us to start assigning you things to do, or make sure, or you can give us ideas of stuff that you would like, that you can take over part of that so you feel more involved in that, or?
No, I think just making, more involvement, maybe not making it I don't know, more about Kechi instead of like the surrounding, all the surrounding areas. Cassie, is there something?
I don't know where that's coming from. This
You,
park
it's
has been
coming
about
from you.
I keep referencing Augusta because that is the park that they built most recently and that people actually have a frame of reference for. We don't have a frame of reference for anything else they do because we haven't visited any of the other parks, but we could go to Augusta. That's why I keep referencing it. I will stop. However, this park from the get-go has been about Kechi and what the people when we went to the first movie night said and what the people that we have talked to have said and people who have come and given us feedback have said. I don't have random people coming up to me in the street and asking about the park probably because no one knows who I am, which is fine, and I'm okay with that. But if people have feedback in the community, they are welcome to come to our meetings. We've opened it up to the floor before as well. But I'm not going to Bel Air and Park City and being like, hey guys, we're gonna build a park in Kechi, but we want it to be about you. So I don't understand where this is coming from that we're saying that this park isn't about Kechi, because it absolutely is. There's literally, they want to put the emblem of Kechi on the park.
It's not like being overly marketed to the
Yeah,
surrounding areas.
and we have said in the meetings and was he said in the LAMP as well. Yeah, because we are a small community, we may ask residents of Park City and Bel Air and Wichita and whoever else to come help us build it, because we only have 2,400 people, and we all know that 2,400 people aren't going to come volunteer to build the park. Like, we might get 60, which would be great. But because we're a small community, we're also like, it doesn't hurt for the other communities to know what's going on here, but I'm not asking them for their feedback. I don't give a rat's ass what Park City thinks our park looks like. Then why what? Why are we going to Chisholm? Because that's where our kids go. If kids in Kechi are in the regular public
That's
schools,
where your kids
no.
That's where,
It's
that is
Kechi
the public
students.
school for the city of
Yes,
Kechi.
that is the public school
The
for the
public
city.
elementary school for the city of
And I
Kechi.
wanna say it's probably not our idea to do that, right?
No.
Play by
That's the
design.
Play by
process.
Design asks
Right.
where students from Kechi go. The majority of students from Kechi, if they are not homeschooled or they are not going to a magnet school, meaning their parents chose to send them somewhere else and applied to do it, which is the way I understand it works in the state of Kansas. You have to apply, essentially, right? If you just go where the city tells you to go, our students are going to Chisholm Trail.
They don't go to Isley at all?
No.
It's a magnet, you have to apply and be approved to go there. And I will say, here's what I will say to you, my children don't go to Chisholm Trail.
Mine don't either.
Right. So it's not like we picked that because that's where,
My kids aren't even in school.
yeah, so I don't have any kind of skin in that game at all.
We picked Chisholm because when we looked up where students from Kechi are allotted to go by the school district, it is Chisholm Trail. So that's where we picked. Isley is closer, I mean, technically.
Right, but then
So
we
this
would for
wasn't
sure
even
be,
your guys, this was just all play by design.
No, they said, where do your kids go to school? And we looked up, where do Kechi kids go to school? And again, the district said, which the 259 district that we are in said, they are allotted to go to Chisholm Trail. So we said, okay. Unless their parents chose to send them somewhere else, again, that is where the majority of Kechi students should be going. So that's the school that we picked so that we could reach the most kids in that time frame. However, as Neva has said, and we have talked about in previous meetings, we have every intention of reaching out to the kids who are homeschooled. I've talked to a number of homeschool families at the movie night, and we made it very clear that their ideas were just as important as the kids at Chisholm Trail. We have every intention of making this as accessible as we can to every person in Kechi who wants to have feedback. And if that means, and I don't know this for sure, I can ask Lisa if we can have a public meeting. I don't know that that can happen because, again, I don't know when her flight is or her drive time or whatever. But if that is what we feel needs to happen, I mean, we can talk about that. I just don't. We also don't want to open it up to public forum and then people are saying, oh, when are you going to put a pickleball court in? Because that's not relevant.
Well, no, but wouldn't that be a really good idea?
I'm not opposed
but
to that.
not on the playground equipment, the thing that we're
The
actually
pickleball
talking
court.
about and we're dealing
Yeah.
with right now. Would a
No,
pickleball court at some point?
It's gonna be on the playground equipment.
The pickleball court could
No,
not
she's
possibly.
saying, she's
No,
not
not
she's saying we should
pickleball.
have a
Okay, sorry.
meeting. We should have a meeting.
On the park,
And
on
we
the
can,
playground
and we
equipment.
can discuss that, and that's something we can discuss. It isn't something that we've said wasn't happening. In the way that Play by Design does it, they do not normally have a public forum meeting. However, if we're getting this much community feedback that there are so many people who have opinions about it, then we want the community's opinions, it's their park.
And
But
they
also
have,
maybe, I wouldn't wanna, if like Play by Design doesn't typically do that, we don't wanna ask more of them than what they're even getting.
Well,
And I just said, I don't know, I'd have to ask Lisa, I don't know
even
if
if
that's
that,
possible.
I mean, and that could be the extreme, but can we at least send out a flyer?
So we put it in the bills once, and it's going out in the bills again this month.
We put it out in utility bills to
It-
all.
yeah, it went in all of the
Kechi
utility
It's
bills.
just a little line at the bottom.
It is.
That-
No,
that's-
I mean,
that's what we
send
have.
out of- I will, give me a stack of them, I'll take them around.
So if we would like to
Great
discuss,
volunteer opportunity.
I say, if we would like to discuss going door to door,
but
that's
but
something we
understand, that's
should just.
literally the next thing that we're talking about right now, is how
yeah.
to do that.
How to do that.
That was
Well,
the
it's
next
really-
discussion we were
right.
having, was how do we, what is the best way to make sure that everybody in Kechi understands how to submit their designs and their opinion on this? Because we hadn't talked about that at any other meeting, no one had brought that up. I will point that out, no one has brought that up, of how exactly are we doing this? So I will say, in my feelings right now, I feel like I am hearing that you're upset that I didn't suggest that we do something that also no one else suggested we do either. That no one has brought up for discussion until the last few days.
Matt, did you ever find out if the park board could have a Facebook?
Yes, and we'll talk about that too, so that's something else that we're gonna talk about as well. It's also another thing that with the design days, and the other specifics about it, what that's
I
gonna
know
look
that
like.
a lot of people don't necessarily go and look at the Kechi Facebook page
Sure, yeah,
on a
absolutely.
regular,
We-
I don't
yeah.
either.
Yeah.
You know, and I miss stuff because
Yeah.
I don't see it, so I don't think Facebook is the
Right,
best
It's not the
way.
end all be all.
Well, yeah, there's not gonna be just one
And that's,
one source of information. Facebook won't be the only one,
So
so.
the other options of stuff that I have on my list, I talked about how we're giving out community information, was, again, we knew the land thing was coming out, right? So that was going to be a start of discussion. We knew we were going to have the forms out here. We're gonna have, the forms are gonna be out in the community for people to be able to get it, right?
But the form's
Well,
being here.
Hold on, and not just here though,
we're
that's the
gonna
thing.
tell people that they're here.
They're here, you can, if you don't wanna print out, you don't have a piece of paper, whatever you wanna come get them, great, there's some at City Hall. Great, there's gonna be some at the greenhouse, great, there's gonna be some at Bloomerang, like all of those, we can be able to say that, right? That's part of this, but I need help to do that.
And, yeah, and that was my, like, I actually mentioned going door to door, but I don't wanna do it by myself.
Well, and
So-
and door to door, here's the thing too, not everybody is home at a certain time, like,
Because
And that's the
something
thing
just
too,
leave
so-
on the door,
you can,
like
you,
rubber band, like I've gotten stuff like that.
yeah, absolutely, but here's what I'm saying right now. I would also like us to talk about, we've got approval to get a big banner that we can hang up in the park that says, this is the design day, submit your designs by doing this. Information that's up there, like a QR code, people do that. That is all stuff we're trying to do, but please know that, I feel that you're frustrated about not having that information and it not being out in here, but we are on this board together and no one else has brought that up and said, we have to do this right now. Let's
But
have this
I
out right
thought-
now.
I thought I remembered from the last one that you were gonna put up signs in the park.
We have signs we've been waiting on because of all the political signs that,
There's no political signs in the
No.
park.
We talked about signs
They
for the
found-
volunteer day.
Yes, we did.
We did not talk about signs
And
for
that
this.
did not happen.
No, because when we did try to get them made, we were waiting for that.
Yeah.
Since we weren't having another volunteer day for a few months, we had waited so that we could concentrate on this instead of the volunteer day. Okay? So there's no one's intention was to not give the community information, and I really want to make that very clear. However, I understand that. Our plan was to cover that information now. And I didn't hear from anyone else prior to this last week that we needed to do that. And as soon as somebody said that, when we started trying to get on that, I started making a list of things that we could do to take care of that. But I also very strongly feel like if you're feeling like this is a Cassie and Neva thing, it is because Cassie and Neva have been doing a lot of the stuff right now. And part of it is because Cassie already had that relationship with them. So she has taken that on. She also took on being one of the main people in charge of it all the time. So it is going to feel a little bit like Cassie's doing a lot, Cassie knows a lot of information, but that would be the reason why. I would have felt like that would have been the same situation if we had chosen Conley's, or we had chosen yours, that I would have expected that.
That was crazy for thinking, you know.
No, well, I
thinking
was,
that.
I don't feel like I ever would label anybody crazy. I do feel like that the way that it was phrased was that somehow Neva and Cassie are making all the decisions about this.
so if I mistook that, I apologize, but that is how I felt that came across. Was you were saying Cassie and Eva are just doing this by themselves. They're having private conversations, they're planning all this, they're not letting us know, there's some kind of like little horde that's going on over here. And that's not our, I didn't say you did, I said that's how I felt like that was coming across to me, okay?
I'm sorry.
So we're trying to understand why I specifically said, what can we do so that everyone feels just as involved? But that also means that we also need your help with all of these things. And everybody, I mean, we're a volunteer board. You all are busy. I am busy all the time. And I wish I had just hours to just dedicate to this, and I just don't. I try to take on as much as I can. I know everyone else is trying to do that as well, but that also means that we need help, and I do need people to step up and take charge of some of this stuff. So,
I mean, get the banner made, I'll put it in the park, get flyers printed, I can walk around and hand them
yes,
out.
absolutely, and
That's what we want.
again, that's kind of what we're wanting to do, right? I understand people are frustrated, and we're doing our best to work with that, but I don't feel that there was anything we could have done about that until now, because again, we have been just kind of going through the process of what we're able to do at the time that we've been allotted. And I will do my best to keep doing that as we move forward, but I would also like feedback from people and then answers to feedback about stuff, and have the ability, if you do have something specific you feel very strongly about, then step up and take that on as well, because if I feel strongly about it, I'm going to want to do that as well. And I know you all have amazing talents, that's why you're here. And I want to utilize those the best that we can. I will say that to date, even from the stuff that we handed out, me speaking in front of everyone at movie night, us having those conversations, do you know how many of those flyers that got handed out at Halloween I picked up off the ground? A stack of them.
You just threw them down.
So for a community, you're telling me the community is really upset, they don't have any of this information. That for me, I was like, oh man, flyers aren't gonna work. And that was my opinion. That I understand not everybody's social media. I understand not everybody is at home to get a doorknob or a flyer stuck on their door, because we're always like, this is a solicitor, what's happening? I try not to answer my door. That's why I have a Ring doorbell. I can selectively choose who I'm talking to, right? But we try to get it out in the bill, we try to get it in the land. And I feel like that was the most that we could do at that time. So I understand they're frustrated. I'm sorry that they feel frustrated. I don't want anyone to feel frustrated in this community at all. I want everyone to understand that we are here to value. Our whole goal is to be the voice for them. But the other thing I will say is I, again, have not had one person reach out and ask me a question. I put my personal information out there, and other than the Hamptons, who just now messaged me and wanted to volunteer, I haven't had anybody reach out to me. My email, my phone number, my Facebook, all that is on there. I haven't had one person. When I spoke at the movie night, not one person came back to me and asked me a question.
Oh, I thought you said.
And at the Halloween, it's the same thing. So I know that you're out right now because with everything else with the campaigning and all of that, and I understand that. That's why I was saying too, like, if you know somebody, tell them, come ask me, come talk to me. Like, I put the job descriptions out so people would understand what that looked like, gave a really full description of everything that was going on, the information that I had at the time. I want to keep giving them that info. And I understand that there's a frustration around that, but nobody was like guarding that or trying to keep anyone out of that. We were all in all the same exact discussions of what was going to happen, what the steps were moving forward. So there was no outside discussions about any of that. We could have, at any point in time, anyone could have stepped up and said, you know what we need to do? We need to make sure that we are talking to the people of Kechi first. So I understand it's here now. So all I can do is say, okay, we'll try to do better and let's move forward the best that we can. And that was the intention for this specific conversation was, I understand, because like, you know, with the Facebook post, like you said, and with, you know, when you emailed me and all of that with the concerns, like, great, then we obviously need to talk about this, which is the intention for today. And I don't want anybody to feel devalued or feel like your opinion is not important, all of that, because we're all very equal here. Nobody has any more say than anybody else. If you want to be involved in something, step up and tell me so that we can, like, do that as well, and that we can get the information out to everybody as best as we possibly can. And I need your help to do that. Like, that's kind of my big thing. I need the help to do it because I just don't have the resource right now to be able to take all that on. And Cassie has done a lot of it too, also because she's able to have a bigger, easier schedule as well, and then being involved with them. You know what I mean?
Easier
You
than
know what I
yours.
mean?
No, I'll give you that.
Yes.
My kids are a little bit less. There's half of them for one.
Right. So I just don't want, and if you have other concerns about that, I'm gonna stop talking in like 2 seconds and just say, I need you to tell me now. I need any concerns that you have, any upset feelings, any of that to come out now, because my biggest concern is that we don't look like a united front. And I have no problems with disagreement, I have no problems with conflict, I have no problems with having conversations, tough conversations, hard conversations, whatever. I do have a, I don't want to say upsetness, it's a horrible word for that, but like, I do have a concern that it doesn't feel like after we've made decisions, that even though we've all been involved in those decisions, and we've all had the chance to have the discussion and all that it feels like afterwards there's information given out that doesn't feel like that you are on board with that. And I would imagine the city council is very similar in that, and any other board that I've ever been on has been, I can have in this meeting, I can air out every piece of information, concern, comment, whatever negative feeling I have in that moment, but once we come to a decision that I've been a part of, and it has been done the right way, the process has been done correctly, then I'm gonna either get on board or I'm gonna find an avenue to do something different. It works that way in my business life, it works that way in my family life, and everything else. And I don't want us to constantly feel like there is not that time to have those conversations or be able to talk about those concerns that we have, or anyone feel left out or any of that, because I want you to be able to step up and go, you know what, my thing didn't happen, or what I wanted, or I had, whatever about all of that, but we all as a collective made a decision, and now we're gonna move forward.
And I appreciate that, that when you have somebody in the community that is expressing something, and it doesn't make any difference how you feel, or you feel, or you feel, these are just things that people have brought.
Right.
This is Kechi's Park, it's
Yeah.
Kechi's tax dollars, don't involve Bel Air or Park City.
It's not Kechi's tax dollars though. Like it's not all from the people of Kechi, right? We get taxes from people who come in and purchase things too, right?
No, it is
No.
Kechi's money.
No.
It's our money.
But
People
again,
who come in and spend their money here, and that tax money goes to the city of Kechi.
We get sales tax, we get property taxes from the citizens. Sales
Yes.
taxes from
Anyone who buys it.
anyone who buys.
And I
Right. The
appreciate
majority
that principle,
is-
but it's
majority-
Kechi's money.
It's
Yes.
Kechi.
Yes.
The majority
Yeah.
of the money does come from property taxes.
Right.
I believe.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
my thing with that wasn't not saying you should tell them they have to do it, or you don't get to have that conversation with them. What my concern was, and I have a hard time with it too, because even if I feel very strongly about something, it's hard for me to go, you know what? I said everything I was going to say. Here's what we're doing moving forward. I'm going to give you the information that I have, and if you have a concern, I can take that concern and I can share it, and we can move forward. This is the decision we're at right now.
Well, for one, the whole thing of you saying it's sales tax, so it's coming from other people.
I understand.
They don't get a vote in this.
And
They
I'm
should
not saying that they do.
They
I'm
should
just
not.
saying, and I'm not saying that it does. We did though have a discussion as well that this was going to be a community park. Just like my kids go to the Park and Valley Center because we don't have a splash pad.
And we won't.
And I go over there. I go to LW Clapp Park all the time with my kiddos.
Yeah,
Because
but
it's a
it's
great-
Kechi Park.
I understand that. I'm just saying, we had talked about having community input too, right? I'm not saying that they're gonna come in and dictate what's happening, and that wasn't my point in even having this part of that conversation. My point in that was that we, as a board, made a decision to move forward. And then what I would like us to be able to do, I'm not saying go out and tell people that their opinion doesn't matter. That's not at all what I'm saying. You
No,
take in
but you gotta think about perception.
Sure.
Perception that this is Kechi, this is our community,
Right.
this is our home,
Right?
this is our park,
Mm-hmm.
and that is what is important.
Yeah.
Now, if other people wanna come and join our park and have
Play
a good
with it,
time
yeah.
and play, that's wonderful. And if somebody wants to give their opinion and give us their opinion about, hey, I think this would be fun and I think that's great. But you know what? I'm not gonna go out there and ask for it.
None of us have said that one time though.
Right, so we need to be
But that's what
very,
I'm saying.
very
If we have
careful.
never said that,
We need to be very careful about perception.
You know what's really great about perception? Is if you give people information and let them know that their perception is only one view of that, let me give you what's actually happening. And no, at no time in any of our meetings or any discussion did we say, we are letting Bel Air or Park City come in and decide what's happening. I thought, we have never said that.
We have to be careful.
I understand that, but do you hear what I'm saying? I can understand someone's perspective. I absolutely do. It is our job as the board to say, I absolutely hear you. I want to let you know that's not what we're doing. Because it wasn't. And no, at no time did we say we were going to do that. That I feel, unless I missed something.
Well, I just want everybody that is listening to this right here on, the internet, that, hey.
No one watches that.
Hopefully.
No, they do.
They do, I have the stats.
Absolutely. That they know that we had Kechi, that is the forefront.
Sure.
Right?
But at no point during these meetings have we said we're gonna go to those other communities. The only discussion about the other communities we've had was that, again, we're going to the school that happens to be located in Park City, because that is the school that Kechi kids are allotted to go to. We don't have a school. I couldn't take them anywhere else. We don't have one.
It's literally on the minutes, it's Park City businesses, Bel Air
We
Rec Center.
discussed
Getting
getting
things from donations from them,
them.
not having them come in and have a say about
No,
it.
again, we have never.
So we would accept their money, but not, well, it's,
Yeah,
We understand if I accept the grant money from a
The
grant
government.
giver person, that doesn't mean they get to come in and have a say about it.
I just think it's kind of misleading to some of the residents when you're wanting to go out and get donations, include those businesses from those cities, if it gives a
But again, I understand it gives a perspective, but then you've been in those discussions, you know that wasn't our intention, that we never said that. So then as a board member, your job in that moment, just as if you were on the city council and someone came to you and said, oh, they were gonna do this, you would say, actually, no, that's not what happened. In the meetings, this is what we talked about, and here's what we decided moving forward. That would be the discussion that you would have. I would expect that same discussion to come from us. That you would say, we did not have that discussion, that was not our intention, I understand it's your perspective, and I'm sorry that you felt that way, or that you got that information. Here's the truth, and here's what's happening. That's what I'm saying. That all of us had the exact same information and understanding about what was going on, who we were going to, and who we weren't. And there is no way within the city of Kechi that we could raise all this money by ourselves. There's just not. We are a very small community. If we want the best possible playground equipment and all that, we are going to have to go out. And that's okay. That doesn't mean that I won't go to Shields and ask them for money, that I haven't already asked that. I went to Sam's to ask them for money and stuff like that. That's outside of Kechi. But that does not mean that they're going to get a say in it. Right? That does mean us saying thank you for contributing to our community, knowing that maybe you're going to come up and utilize this space. That's why. Any conversation I've had with somebody outside is that it's our part. You're welcome to come. Please come. Because
Well, I agree with that statement.
Yeah.
Because I want people from the outside our community to use our park. It
Right.
could be a nice enough park. It's a destination park for people to come to.
yes,
But the influence needs to come from Kechi.
which is all we have ever said.
I don't think anybody's disputing that, no.
And that's what I'm hoping is coming across, is that there's never been the intention to say that anyone outside of the city of Kechi or the city council was actually even gonna be the final say for it, or have any kind of input whatsoever on that. And honestly, the input that people are giving is, these kiddos and other people are drawing a park on a piece of paper, and the design lady who has an idea of kind of design is gonna take some of that and mold it around it. They're not saying, you get to have 5 slides, no, I only want Kechi to have 2 slides. Okay, great, you're only gonna get 2 slides. That's not what's happening in those moments. What is happening is that we are asking them for money because they've got it. Similar to we have, we talked about with what you had just brought up about us going to Bel Air. That was for us asking for donations for stuff for the party and things like that. Because again, the city of Kechi doesn't have the resources to be able to supply all that for us. Unfortunately, that's just not where we're at. But one of the goals of this park is to draw people in. Because again, that sales tax is really important to us. And I heard you all say this in the candidate forums, right? Over and over again. We want to be a destination place that people come. If we have a cookie cutter park that they could get anywhere else at all, that is not going to be that big draw. And I felt like that was one of the reasons why we chose this, right? We also had talked about in the survey that had happened, what specifically people had said, what they wanted, and things like that. We tried to take that into consideration as well. So that would be a perspective that someone could have. As well as the same like you said, we are giving everyone the same ability to give input as anyone else in this community. No one is getting a bigger say. No business is getting to submit a design to us. That's not happening. No one's had that discussion. It's not anyone's intention at all. It's a thank you for doing that. Would you like your name on a picket on the fence? Perfect. Done. But we have to also be the ones that are championing this idea at the same time. And I'm happy that people are bringing concerns to you because I would love to hear them too. I would love to have these discussions with people as well. And I'm open to it anytime at all for anyone ever to reach out to me and have that conversation or ask or any of that. Because it is, again, about we're the voice. And that all we can do is if we hear that information, come and bring it.
Well, I do hope that when the coffee shop and bakery come to Kechi, that we do go to them and ask them if they would like
Oh,
to
yeah.
We
provide.
discussed that earlier.
I'm taking everybody's everything. Anybody wants to give me anything, bring it. Let's go.
We discussed early on going to the developer and the businesses that have already signed up to come into Kechi and asking them even though they're not here yet. That wasn't a meeting, we talked about it in the August meeting, I think.
I mean, and some of that is going to be done too by the smaller committees, right? That we had talked about that they had given us, like the finance committee, fundraising committee, all of that. That's going to be on them because here's the other thing: we don't have the capacity for all of us to run those things. And I think that was the conversation that we had. We talked about all those specific things. Is none of us have the ability to be that person and still be able to dedicate the time to the rest of the park. Because once this is done, we have to move on to the rest of the park itself, not just the playground equipment. And I want us to be able to get there, and I want us to be able to give the rest of the park just as much love and attention and focus as we're giving this equipment.
Right.
Absolutely.
I want us to be there. And I apologize if anyone felt like, I apologize that you all felt like we weren't doing that. Not yet, because it does feel like that was the situation. I don't want anyone to ever feel uninformed. I want to give as much information as possible. And again, it's why Karen is now texting as well as I know some of those were kind of getting missed and things like that. We didn't know what was happening. We're going to just have to keep moving forward, doing things the best that we can with the information we have at the time. That's all that I can ever promise to be able to do. And I don't think anybody else can ever promise anything else. And I will do everything that I can to make as many improvements as I can as we move forward. Keep telling me so that I can. And also when people have concerns and you feel like you don't have a good answer for it, or you don't feel confident in having that conversation, steer them to me. I have no problem having any conversation with anyone. If we're feeling uninformed or anything, like you don't not, hey, I'm not certain about the answer. Let's get with Eva and talk about that. Or let's get with Karen and talk about that. Or any other member. I mean, it's up to you if you want to be available for that. But I don't want anyone to sit in the unknown. Because I hate that. I hate that for myself. I like to have as much information as I can. What else can we do that will help everyone feel like we're on the same level or that we all have the same information? How else can we be giving information to you or making sure that we're pointing things out when they're happening that will be helpful? For you all specifically right now, less about the other part.
Well, I think that this is good when you have a schedule of what is going to happen.
Yeah.
Again, I got that a couple days ago.
Yeah, but no, I'm saying that that's good, that's very informative. So so then after the 21st, what's our next step? What are we gonna do?
Yep. And that's something I don't know other than us, again, sending that to the city council. That's gonna be up to them at that point. We advise, this is what we'd like to do.
So the next step is presenting this to the city council.
Yes.
That's good.
And my understanding, that is our next step. Does everybody else, and I'm just saying that because that's my understanding. I wanna make sure that everybody else, is that what you feel like is the next step? I mean, that would be,
After we've collected
Yeah,
all the information.
once you get a design and price, and then you can take that
Yeah, I
information.
don't think there's any point in us doing much other groundwork until it's approved by the city council because there's no point in fundraising or anything until
right.
We have
we
approval.
can actually say we can do it. And also at that point we would have more concrete numbers that we would be able to work with.
What else? Does that feel like that answered? Okay.
Yeah, I just wanna know where we are, what feel like that has kind of been a little bit of an issue, of not knowing
Yeah.
what the next step is that we're doing.
And I apologize, some of that, I don't know either. And cause all this particular stuff, we have to leave up a lot to them to give us that information. And we don't always have it as quickly as people might have the questions about it.
I will say, I feel like you guys, everybody has done a very good job of, I've never come into a meeting, and I will say, I'm not always the best at catching up with emails, but I've never come into a meeting and felt blindsided by any of the information. I feel like most of the time, it's already been covered in the previous meeting, so I've not once felt caught off guard by anything. So I appreciate everybody who is good at communicating, doing what you've been doing.
Yeah, I think from the city's perspective, we know exactly where we're headed up to November 21st. We do.
Cause Karen did give them
Yeah.
an update and all that, as well, and
Yeah,
We
there's been
will-
no confusion where we're going up to November 21st. I think that's been very clear.
we'll keep trying to do that. Is there any other, like, do you feel good with the communication right now where Karen is texting to let you know that an email has gone out?
Yes.
Is everybody receiving emails now? Cause I know the problem before was that people weren't
Because
receiving.
I don't go through my emails every day.
Well, I'm gonna try not to. So.
But yes, when I got the text, and that alerted me to go
Go
look
to it.
for
Okay,
the
yeah.
email.
Yeah.
And I apologize, I should have had it out earlier, so you would have had more time to prepare, so I was a little.
And Matt's email hates
behind.
my email, so I send Matt things and it goes to the ether and never to Matt. So
It's in the universe somewhere.
We have
it
things
hates
somewhere.
me. It's fine. Is there any other way that would be easier for you or that you prefer? Anybody?
The text
So don't
alert
ask
is
for
great.
Facebook, cause I don't Facebook.
Okay.
So you don't wanna run the PRs?
Do we
No,
feel?
ma'am.
Let me ask this, do we feel good about moving forward with the specifics about how we're going to send this information out to the community at this point? To have that as our next conversation here?
Oh, yes, to talk about it, yes.
Yes. Okay. I would like to, I know we've got the flyer from Cassie, did everybody actually have the chance to see that?
This here.
No,
No,
this
that's
one,
just the design, no. Cassie had sent them out in the email, and it has just one page explaining what people could do and what their input would look like. She made one for Chisholm Trail that's gonna get sent out to the kids, and she made one specifically for the city of Kechi.
And how are
talking
they
about
going
them.
to get that? If they
That,
come up
and that's
here-
where, yeah,
Yeah,
that's
that's
what we're
what
talking
we
about,
wanna
so,
discuss, right.
and literally they don't have to even come up here, it could be any piece of paper, they could have a piece of paper at home they draw on. And Cassie even put in there, you can take a picture and email it to her, you can reply on the post on the Facebook, you can, bring it up here and drop it off, whatever works best for you and easiest for you.
Christina, that was sent.
that was the one that you responded to, Cheryl, cause I had an error in it.
Oh, that's, yeah,
Yep.
with the
The
raffle.
raffles, and then I had to change the wording
Oh, you
anyway,
I told her raffle too, I was like, we can't see a raffle,
Yeah.
it's not legal in the state of Kansas, sorry.
Oh, it's not?
No, you can't see it, you can't have a raffle.
They're door
It's gambling,
prizes.
it's gambling.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
They changed, yeah.
It's been a while, it's been for a
Can you
minute.
see it? I have it up on my phone too.
I got it.
Okay.
So there was one that went to the, specifically she made for Chisholm Trail, and there's one that we made for the city of Kechi.
What date was that?
That I sent it.
Mm-hmm.
It would have been the
Mine was
Monday
saved.
before Halloween.
Mine was say raffles though. Is that the?
I
That one-
didn't send out the edited version because I just changed a
Because
single
all it
word.
was
It was
the
just a
raffle.
word. Yeah, I just changed it to door prizes instead of door raffles. That's all it changed. It was, I sent it on the 27th.
So we can start, getting some of our money. Just joking.
And you might have missed it, we did actually get 2 donations already, was in our, we discussed it, I think, at the last meeting. One of the Airbnb owners locally donated their Airbnb for the designer to stay at while she was here, so we don't have to pay for a hotel. And then we had a local business owner offer to cover half of her visit additionally.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That'll help us out.
Yeah, cause when Karen did her presentation to city council.
Is it a Kechi Airbnb?
Mhm, yeah.
It's the one I find weird.
It's, Kendra,
It's the little.
There are
house
2,
with,
I
like,
think,
doors
in
down
Kechi.
here.
Okay.
There are 3, when I looked, there were.
Was it Kendra?
It's,
Wow,
yeah,
very popular.
Oh, yeah.
We're gonna get-
Airbnbs.
sorry, let me verify my thing.
what other ideas did you have, Neva, for sharing the
Sorry.
information to the
Um,
community?
Other than our ones we kind of already discussed, again, I got the information from Matt of where I can order a banner. So I want to have a banner it'll have changeable information, so we can take stuff off on GoPro, we can put new stuff on it, so it's the same main banner, so we can put it up every time we wanna do something, but then we'll be able to just change out the specific information to save us some money. But then we can put up as much as we want, right? And then do some of the smaller signs, but right now, my concern with that is, and in the next couple of days, as long as you all go take down all your signs, we can put up those so they don't get lost as white noise, right? With everything else that's going on. So, those couple of things, again, trying to get out, if you know other places in the community that people are frequenting, businesses, stuff like that, if you want, or you feel good about having that conversation, to ask them to put some of those flyers out, or hand them out, or have that discussion about, hey, you know what, they're doing this design, here's the thing. Because we don't have another public event really between now and the design day that we can go to, that I know of.
Did you talk to John Stewart?
I did not.
Okay, because I was wondering if they would let us put a sign up even maybe on the door or like in one of their windows at the entry, if we would have a poster.
The manager.
Yeah.
Okay, I can.
And I think, and we can print out bigger posters too, that we can have the, you know, the businesses and stuff put up.
Yeah.
Again, what that means though is that I will need help with people and taking those around and getting those put up, with the businesses that we have that are gonna be open, like with Carg and all of that, as well.
Well, I will help you do that if you just let me know.
Yeah.
That you're ready to go with it.
Yep. Flyers. What other ways do you feel like would be good to be able to get this out to the most amount of people?
So I mentioned it very briefly at the end of the meeting, but I would like to make little signs that we can put up around town and like out in the, people who are really far away, I don't remember what that development's called.
Sunnyvale.
Sunnyvale.
Because I don't know how often they're coming into town because they don't have to. And my idea was to take the old political signs, which I know you think is crazy, but that's fine.
I think it's crazy.
Here's what I'll, okay, sorry that you think it sounds like a lot of work, but to take the political signs we're no longer using because they're good quality and thick, rather than trying to pay for more or whatever, and spray painting them and then painting or using my Cricut to put new information on them, which would potentially include a QR code.
Let me ask you this, how much were your signs that you had made?
More like a 2 something.
Yeah, I said, it might be cheaper just to do that than
Okay.
where you have to do your Cricut thing
Some
and
of mine
spray
are-
paint.
Well,
And
don't you
that's
have a
all
bunch
the
of free
same.
vinyl for me?
Yeah, some of mine are.
I do have a bunch of free vinyl for you that I dug out of the
Trash
dumpster at the
can vinyl.
Dollar
We
Tree.
hear about your time.
Well,
And you're
I was
saving.
trying to say, well, I was trying to save us money, because my idea was to go and put them near all of the, because most of the town goes to the mailbox thingies to get their mail, so my idea was to put signs at the mailboxes, because people generally
good idea.
walk there, versus like the political signs are on the corners, right, but if we put a QR code, we want people to be able to scan it. So my thought was to put them at the mailboxes, because everyone gets their mail at some point, probably.
Maybe once
If
a
it's me, it's once a week, but.
Me too. It's right outside my house
Anyway.
and I still get it once a week.
So that my idea was to put signs at the mailboxes, because,
I think that's a
But-
great idea, and signs at the park.
yes,
Yes,
inside
absolutely.
the park.
I think
Which
we're
is
trying to
a
get that big banner at the
Yeah.
park and then
Yep.
a few signs, on either end of the park. So like some in the parking lot when you come in and you're parking, and then some at the top end of the park.
I mean, you can put one in my backyard, I don't care, I back up to the park, you can
Yeah.
put one there. And that way, because I know sometimes when I walk my dog, I don't have a lot of time, so I just go a little bit one way, or the next time I'll go a little bit the other way. So it's not like if something's on the other side, I'm gonna see it, you know what I mean?
What other ways do you feel like?
It's going out in the bills again.
And again, they don't have to have that flyer to submit. It could be any regular sheet of paper.
Yeah.
It could be a notebook
It
piece of
doesn't-
paper, I don't care.
You know, I was reading this, and I know that, but it doesn't really say, like, please invite your children, and this is talking about the homeschooled, we want their ideas too. Please invite your children to draw their dream playground on the back of this page or on a blank sheet of paper.
Mm-hmm.
Then come see the big reveal. Like there's,
Isn't it at the bottom where it says what to do with
Yeah.
it?
no,
Yeah, it's got Cassie's information at the bottom.
That's the school one, isn't it?
nope, this is the one,
This is dear families, isn't it?
yeah, this isn't the school one.
No, the one Debbie is looking at is the school one.
So it doesn't say what to do with it.
So at the bottom it says, parents, please return drawings to City Hall or scan and email them to my personal email address
okay.
by date.
Okay.
And my email address is on there twice.
Twice, okay.
I almost put my phone number, and then I was like, there could be some creepers. I don't really want to put that out there.
I have a Google number, if that helps you at all.
Okay, so a banner at the park, signs at the park, yard signs around town, so to speak, and then flyers.
Yep, and the flyers going out to local businesses, and, yep.
Does anyone have any other ideas?
In additionally,
Facebook.
yeah, Facebook.
Facebook.
Oh, that's right.
I think we've,
So we'll, since you brought up Facebook, we're gonna talk about that. So there's two things that I'm gonna say about that. One, only because I don't want us to get in trouble. When there is a Facebook post pertaining to the park, there cannot be more than 3 of us commenting on it at any time. And that's what we're gonna talk about the Facebook situation. So with some of the changes to the Open Meetings Act stuff, right? It includes social media. So that could be considered us having a meeting. Because so it'd just be like if we were emailing that information back and forth, or we were texting that information back and forth. So, other than the post we'd already made, what we are able to do, we cannot have a Facebook that we run because again, we can't be in control of having those conversations or all of us be in one space to do that. And also it has to be run just for legal concerns by the city. The issue with that is that they're very busy people. So what we are able to do instead, and what other people have done, is they have a Friends of the Kechi Park Facebook page that is not run by anybody on this group at all. It would be run by the person who's in charge of our PR committee. And that would be up to them. All they can do is ask us questions, and we can help with like designs and stuff to submit or things like that, but we would not be involved in any discussions that happen on that Facebook. We are not allowed to post on that Facebook ourselves or comment on it. That would be up to that person so that all the information flows through one person who is not on our board. Does that make sense?
But that has not been developed yet.
We
No.
do not currently have.
However, that is
Somebody doing that.
that's what we are working on right now. Don't everybody look back at the back of the room at the same time, so I might freak her out, she might run away. But Ms. Hampton back there is one of the 2 people that I've had that have reached out to me about being part of the committee people. So her and Connor both are going to volunteer to help. I don't know if she voluntold Connor.
It was a team decision.
he's very involved in all kinds of things. So it's okay. That he would like to be involved in the materials and the tool side, and then I would like, we're going to discuss a little bit more as well, see if she can help us with the PR side, because that is the biggest concern, the next thing that we really need to get on. Because again, I want one place for everyone to go to have all the information as much as possible. I know not everybody cruises Facebook, but we could say, if you do need more information, there's always info here.
Yeah.
So
And we can do QR codes on stuff. So
yes, and we can do Facebook, we can link that to an Instagram, all that, so one post goes to all of it at the same time, doesn't create more work, all of
So
that.
we can create the content for it, but we can't post it?
Correct,
Okay.
essentially.
yes. And that would be something that, again, if you're the person, because you're the person on that committee,
You are the person on the committee.
according to the notes,
It can't be now.
You can't be in
well, you
charge
can't be in
of it.
charge of the
You can be
committee, but
on
you
it.
can't be on
You
the
can
committee.
send pictures to her.
Also that, I did say, we have a fantastic photographer who's already in it, so see, I was flattering you in order to make you less concerned. As well, so that is the plan for the social media aspect of it, so hoping to get that done as quickly as we possibly can. But also to take some of that requirement off the city to do, but that we can put a lot more content out a lot quicker.
So then who will be responsible for the signs and the banner, getting that ordered or?
I will, I've got it, Matt gave me the information for who we do it from, so I have a friend who actually makes them for another company, so I had asked her this weekend, hey, what would be the best, she works for Gregory, which is in like Bueller, they make signs and stuff like that. I just said, tell me what's the best way I can do this that's least expensive, that will go the longest way, and she gave me like 3 or 4 things to look at. So I'm hoping that the FAF, the FOF, does that, all the state street, or they can guide me on that, so I want to get that done as quick as possible. So that's my goal for tomorrow. I don't work tomorrow because I'm going to get shot in my back. For that, try to get that done as well, so we can get those up as quickly as possible. When we're done with this, though, I will take that flyer that Cassie will put it in the Facebook posts as well, and I'll tag the city of Kechi, I'll put it on ours, and whatever the Lost and Found one, share it in that as well, 'cause sometimes I forget about that one, you always have to.
I always share.
Cause also I'm really bad at Facebook, so that's the other part of it.
Are we able to share from like that page to our?
I believe so, I don't think that would
Or no?
be, I think that you just couldn't comment on it,
Yeah,
if there are people
as long as
commenting on
there's no
yours.
serial conversation.
Yeah. But do we understand why that's a thing, at least for us? I wanna say
Dislike
something.
it, but yes.
Yeah, I mean, and again, it's just that thing of the checks and balances, just making sure that we're not doing something we're not supposed to do.
Yeah, no.
It
I know
make-
it's frustrating.
It makes sure those conversations aren't had outside of this.
Yeah,
meeting.
I understand the purpose of it, I just don't like the added difficulty.
The inconvenience
to
of it all?
communicate to the community.
And that was kind of some of it too, we had to figure out about a lot of that and how that would work. And we kind of came up with that, again, just from the other groups that have built parks like this, that's what they
Right.
had to do too, because they were facing the same situation.
Yeah.
Which is why it's been really good to kind of be able to talk to people who've done this before, because for avoiding some of the pitfalls, that they had, which is nice, before we get into our own, as far as that goes. Any other, ideas about what we can do to get information out? Do you want us to have more flyers printed up so that you can take them out to your neighborhood or anything like that?
I think that'd be a great idea.
Can you have those printed?
How many?
How many would you like?
What do you know,
Are we all in different neighborhoods?
I'm in,
Yes.
um,
Well, we're in the same, but
I'm in Prairie Creek, where are you?
Two next to it.
Where are you?
We're that way.
I'm on top, yeah, we're like
I'm on Jaden and Anderson, and then she's just to the west.
if you all want to choose,
Down.
rock, paper, scissors and say, you're gonna go to a different one, I'm gonna go to ours. that
I'll
would
go
work
to
too.
Prairie Creek, cause that's where I live,
Yeah,
so.
there's not really.
I'm leaving Cheryl, our neighborhood.
I'm sorry, I missed the whole thing I was talking
You
about.
got volunteered to.
Wow,
go hand out
you're gonna
flyers
print
in
them.
Temple neighborhood.
You're gonna go
Oh,
pay
yeah.
for, you're gonna go
Yes.
pay for the neighborhood.
Yes,
Yes, I can.
Matt is going to print out the flyers, but he needs to know how many he would like to have.
Oh,
Do you know how many houses are in Prairie Creek? I have no idea.
I can do that whole, area, the,
Okay. Okay, I'm either way.
of the Native American names. I can do that part.
North Meadows.
I'm on shot.
She's trying to check your neighborhood, is what she said.
Do that one.
It's mine.
No, on the, no, on the,
I think
what-
yours
We have Shawnee, we have,
I was gonna say,
Cherokee, we have all that.
oh.
You're in North
Prairie
Meadows,
Creek.
Cheryl.
I'm
North
talking
Meadows.
about on the,
The northeast side of Kechi.
yes,
I call it Old
Northwest?
Kechi,
Northwest?
to be honest.
yeah, the old Kechi, the northwest,
We don't have the
I'm northeast.
houses.
where we live,
North Meadows. Our edition is called North Meadows.
yeah,
Your edition is called North Meadows.
We live in the same edition.
yeah,
I live right by here.
It's
It's
called-
called North Meadows?
It's North
Yeah.
Meadows.
Never heard that in my whole time here.
yeah, because they're all different like editions.
Yes, it's North Meadows.
What does that even mean?
It's just,
Does it mean anything, Joy?
it's just part of the
Yeah.
plan.
Anyway, sorry.
We're running out of
Okay.
time.
We don't
Okay,
have an
so-
HOA, but it's like a, it.
I love that.
Yeah,
So how many flyers would you like?
Sure.
I'm sorry,
How
what?
many
How many
flyers?
flyers would you like?
I don't know,
Let's guess, like 30? Do you feel like 30 is enough for everybody? You're only gonna go leave one at every house, right?
right,
Because people don't need to have that flyer to make a drawing. So if you have 5 kids, they can just get another piece of paper,
one per household,
one per household.
right, so it's like 30,
You
40.
could even encourage them to use the other side of the flyer.
Yes, they have
Oh,
little
wait a
kids.
minute, what if you've got kids, right, so
Like
you
paper.
might have.
And they can have any piece of paper they
It
want.
could be on any paper.
How about if I
Okay.
print out 100 of them and I'll have them at the front?
Yeah, that sounds good.
30,
We
60,
need
90,
Stop by and grab
120,
Yeah.
150, 180. 30, 60.
Well,
Yeah, I-
double for me.
I don't
Well,
wanna
yeah,
print
you get
too
mine.
many.
Well, any of the extra ones I'm going to take to some of the businesses.
Okay.
We'll
And I'll leave
start
them there.
with that, and we might
Yeah,
need
do
more.
150 and then we'll, if
What
we need
about
more, then we can always get more.
What about Sunnydale and Rock Point?
That was what I was thinking.
Oh, yeah.
I live in
Don't forget,
Sunnydale.
don't forget our
We don't wanna
See?
forget about them.
Isn't she so good at PR, everybody? She lives in Sunnydale.
What'd you say?
I live in Sunnydale. We can get some to her. But if you have like neighborhood, do you all have individual like neighborhood groups too? Do people do that here? That is big enough?
One of our neighbors is trying to start one,
Oh, Lord.
but it hasn't happened
I
yet.
don't put on the neighborhood app. Is that, I don't know, does anybody know?
At the end.
Okay.
Right at the end
So
of the
Matt, for tomorrow.
Well, you tell me what to print.
The flyer that Cassie emailed you?
That's the one you want me to?
Yes, the one for Kechi.
Not the one with the raffle word.
Gotcha.
Did I send it to you?
He was included.
Okay.
Better make sure I got it.
It's just an
If it's
email
If
an
from
not,
my
attachment,
phone.
and then if not here, just to be safe, email him only the one you want printed.
I'll send it.
Okay, just to be safe.
Make
Make
it
sure you get it.
passed out once a
Yeah.
week.
Yes, so that's a great idea, is to have a goal to try to have that done maybe by Sunday at the latest, so that we can all know that everybody's in the same amount of information.
Yeah, and that gives people a week to submit them.
Yes.
So is anybody gonna take Northwood? Is that what?
What is
North
that?
Point.
Oh, that's just on the north side of Prairie Creek.
Mm-hmm.
I will, reach out to you.
Yeah,
Thank you for
that's fine.
coming.
I'm not running away. I
No,
just
you're
have
fine,
to
I know you
put
had,
my
you
children
had
to bed.
stuff to do. I know. I don't know why I started.
And you said they would be ready for us to pick up?
Tomorrow,
Tomorrow, okay.
like afternoon,
Fine.
by noon. Matt will give Matt a deadline.
Oh, tomorrow's election, is that gonna be too busy to?
Okay, friend?
Matt is not
Doesn't
doing
affect
it.
us.
Doesn't mean I have to
It's on
get
the other side of the hallway.
I already
That's
did.
right, it's on over there.
Saturday.
I tried.
Okay, should I not use those signs or should I use the signs?
Don't use the signs, I'll order them.
How many do you need? Do you want to go count mailboxes?
It just, I don't know.
I could.
I'll-
Random
you know
number
what?
and
could
then-
ask,
I'll text Jen, my
Yeah,
mail lady,
yeah.
and say,
She's
Jen,
all of our mail ladies.
I know, but I like to
Don't
call
get
her
us
my mail
on
lady.
here.
And
She
what
has-
hours is the city hall open? So that won't
Till
be-
5?
Monday through Thursday, 7:30 to 5:30, Friday, 7:30 to 1:30.
7:30 to 5:30?
Tomorrow,
Hmm?
is what is?
7:30 to 5:30 on Tuesday,
And
Okay, good.
that will be more
Monday
than
through
5.
Thursday.
Very good.
This won't make it to you in time, but it will be in the minutes.
It had no money.
Okay.
Okay, so I wanted to do a really quick recap of those of us who are going to talk to businesses about sponsorships for the day,
Yes.
for the design day. Did anybody,
Do that. Karen did.
I've got my 2 right here.
okay,
I talked to, Neon Hat Bar,
okay,
and she was all in.
perfect,
I even took one for her daughter to do, cause she doesn't go to school there,
yeah.
so. Yeah,
Did she specifically say what she was willing to donate, or she just said she would?
She would, I said, be, it would
Okay.
be.
She said she would.
So a prize,
Yep.
is that right, okay,
I think she said, I can't remember what she said, but I said, just be creative and have a good time with it.
yeah, okay, Neon Hat Bar,
I
Yeah.
thought maybe I'd go see some of the other businesses.
please.
You can do it on top to that.
Does everybody have the fundraising flyer too? Or the sponsorship flyer? That one?
This is the one, yeah, so this is the one, local businesses to donate door prizes. See, this is the one,
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
right, so I'm gonna do mine tomorrow.
Okay.
Or
You're gonna-
Wednesday.
And you're doing
And there's more of them at the desk.
Card and
You need
boomerang.
Oh, you're doing boomerang? Oh, yes, I put an arrow.
Yep.
Cool. You were the other person signed up to talk to people, so.
Yeah, I've got Sam's, they are down, they haven't told me how much yet that they will, they're going to talk about, either giving us a couple of things, which I might have to ask you, if they give me a pallet of bottles of water, where will we store them?
Probably at the Public Works, or in the police
Cause then we
department.
can, whatever we don't use at the party, we can save and use for the build.
Yeah.
We'll
If
fi-
that,
we'll
if that
find
is
a
for it,
place.
if not, they're happy with us using it for whatever.
Yeah.
And then potentially, some baked goods and stuff like that as well. I did secure a cotton candy machine. I know, I don't have one, but I know someone who does, and they're going to let us use it for free.
Do we need to buy the stuff for it?
Yes, and it will be fairly easy. I looked it up. I'm just gonna buy Jolly Ranchers, because that's the easiest thing. You just throw it in and it makes the stuff.
Really?
And then there are bags on Sam's, so I'm probably just gonna send it to Matt and have him order it. And then my plan is actually to try to make it ahead of time, so that we're not trying to make it per child.
I mean, if you're gonna bag it, that makes sense.
Yeah. Because if not, that will be a bajillion years, and it gets everywhere, and then you're sticky and gross for the rest of your life. And then I reached out to some of the businesses in Park City. I reached out to the Bel Air rec. I didn't hear anything from any of the businesses back. I even called to follow up and didn't really get anything in Park City. But I did ask, and that was for the specifically just for the price stuff. And then Bel Air
donating prizes.
Yeah, donating prizes. So this would be the door prizes, because again, we talked about the incentive to get people to the day, right? Was that.
Can we, so we've got 2 weeks? Can we follow up with this prior to, because if we get to it 3 days before the party and we have 1 door prize, we're gonna need to do some.
Right. My recommendation would be that maybe by the end of, it is November. Can we say by like Monday the 17th, we have an idea of what everybody has? And can you send out an email to all of us to say this is what I've got? Or if you just want to send it to me, I can compile a list and send it out to everybody, whatever the
Yeah.
is.
So we're still needing to get like cookies, and you took care of the drinks,
So,
the water.
well,
Yeah,
yeah,
hoping.
so the cookies are hopefully also coming from Sam's Club.
Yes.
So we're just waiting to, and then we still need to talk to the police department about using the popcorn machine.
Yes. Matt, can you ask him if we can use our popcorn?
Cool.
He's gonna talk to him before I will.
And then Mama, you're gonna talk to Tap House? Yeah, I'm just going down my list.
Alexander was going to talk to
Valley.
Valley
Yeah.
Floral. I hadn't heard an update on that yet from him. Is there anywhere else that anybody else would like to reach out to in town or near us for people that would give us some things?
Yeah, ask one of the Airbnbs if they want to
I could
donate one
donate
night
something.
stay.
Okay, that'd be great. Do you have something specific, or you want to just wait and decide and let us know?
Could donate like a 60-minute deep tissue.
Love that.
That's awesome, thank you.
And we're going to do a sign at the day telling you with everybody's stuff on it as a thank you. These are our sponsors for the design day. So if you do also give me a
Business logo?
Business card or?
yeah, something that I can put up for you, because I want to make sure everybody gets recognition for all of those things. So that people, twofold, one, because we should do that anyway, but also so they understand that we're always going to do that, so we go ask them for more things. Good examples. Anywhere else that we should reach out to? I thought you raised your hand, I was like,
You might want to hit the businesses from Park City that keep advertising our City of Kechi community page,
oh, there you go.
like Perk Coffee or whatever
Oh,
it's
yeah.
called.
The coffee trailer place?
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
several of them
Oh,
that
yeah.
keep hitting often on the City of
Yeah.
Kechi, which is supposed to be for Kechi businesses, but
There's a fair number of non-Kechi residents in that group.
We have people from other states, what are you talking about? That's crazy. Okay, anywhere else?
Sorry, I ran out of breath.
Oh,
I needed
okay.
to take a breath.
Just making sure. Okay, so then the day of, we will probably need help with the decorating. And I think Matt said we get in at 3. So if we can, if you have that, I know, again, everybody has work stuff. Whatever you're available to do with helping, just let us know so we can try to plan on that. We put somewhere about games or entertainment.
Yeah, so we talked about having Troubles the Clown come, but that is out because he cannot do latex-free balloons.
And nightmares.
Well,
He's so nice.
I don't care for clowns.
He just
I'm-
makes-
he's a
he just
fantastic
makes
person.
the
I brought my children off in front of
animals.
him, and then I walk away.
He was at the
He's at the Halloween thing.
Halloween thing
Right.
too. And then we
Um,
talked about doing face painting.
which I actually just got some face painting markers myself.
Wasn't I looked to see if that was a
They were on sale.
Can we just like use your Cricut on people's faces?
yes. That would be the extent of my skill.
So if anybody has any other ideas of some fun little things that we can do, because again, that'll be kind of come and go for a little while, so we want to keep people engaged and there, but we also only have limited room. But as we know, also sometimes we don't always have the biggest turnout for things. So as much as I can hype it, if we can hype it and get people involved and excited. For advertising, one thing I'm going to recommend is some kind of slogan. I know we had talked about a name, which we're not at yet, but some kind of hashtag that we can use or something that gets people talking about that. I'll give you an example. We used to work for a summer camp, and we did Project 323. We just had buttons that said Project 323, are you in? And we just wore them around randomly, and people would be like, what is that? I'm like, oh, and I got a chance to tell everybody all about it. So it's just kind of a cool, like, what's an attention getter? So if you have any ideas for that, or something that you think you want to share with everybody that might potentially help with that, I think that'll help us too. So again, word of mouth is going to be our biggest thing here as well.
And that's for which days, for the slogan? slogan?
Just in general, I think that could just be ongoing if we end up this gets a we move forward, that it'd be nice to have that as just something that we can utilize so that people are involved or they're doing other stuff, we can kind of add that in. Just for that. Anything else about the party itself? Anything I'm missing? Any other questions? Anything that's not clear about what we're gonna do during that day?
Do we need to have it on a meeting before all the big stuff is happening, maybe? Or are we okay without it?
It's in 2.5 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
That feels scary.
It feels very scary.
You know, it'll be fine. Do we want to have another, just a quick check-in? Do you feel good with a mail check-in that we say, here's a finalized schedule, here's who's doing
That
this?
would be a good idea,
So that
finalize.
just a finalized schedule?
Absolutely.
Or we can do like a preemptive one, hey, everybody let me know if you see anything on here, it's not right, and then, okay, let me set dates for that so that so we make sure we're all on that.
What about securing, people for this design day?
Secure, what kind of people?
Like volunteers?
Or wait, was, like, okay, I'm so sorry.
You're fine.
Is that where we can't have 4 people? Where it's a quorum?
Are you talking about for the 4:30 meeting?
For the day at Chisholm Trail.
The Chisholm Trails, we have all of our volunteers for that.
Okay. So the November 21st day.
Yes, for the
Oh,
thing,
yeah, that's not a problem to have all of us there for that?
we won't all be together, and we're not just, that's what Matt was saying, we're not gonna
Yeah,
discuss,
don't
we're just
touch
giving her the information that the kids gave us,
Okay.
so we're not having,
Don't huddle up.
yeah, we're not all gonna sit and talk about what our thing was together.
Okay.
It's only me that we're giving her the information, and same thing with the other one.
So we're there, where are they gonna be doing or this is just an example of the 15-minute.
You talking about the schedule for the school?
Yeah.
That is, I mean, it's a
like a breakdown of
It's a
what it's gonna
breakdown, but yeah,
And that's all at the school,
that's
in those
at the
classrooms.
school.
And so are we all going to
No.
be there that
No.
day?
No,
Okay.
you don't
We
have
do
to,
not all
if
need to
you, I
be
mean,
at
if
the
you
school.
wanna go and help, absolutely, if you can't, it's not a requirement for anybody to be there.
We have the 6 people that Lisa requested. If additional people would like to come, we can probably do that, but
So everything is taken care of.
for the school visit,
Okay.
yes. But then if anyone who wants to is welcome to come to the 4th, well, obviously everyone who can and wants to should come and help set up starting at 3. But then we will also have the meeting at 4:30, which will be with Lisa and anyone, community or otherwise, who's interested in volunteering and being part of the building of the park at this point, so that anyone interested in fundraising, doing PR, any of that, can come to the meeting at 4:30 to discuss next steps, essentially. I think she's gonna go over, like, go forth and do these things.
And those are both on the same day.
This is
Yes,
all
all
the
this is the same
21st,
day.
yes,
School's in the morning and then
Yeah.
at 3.
yeah,
Is
we'll
Three.
set up.
Not 4.
3 o'clock is
3
for
o'clock
setup.
is set, and.
Yes, on here it says 4 for setup, because this is the thing that she sent me and I didn't change it.
So this, again, don't take this as gospel for anything right now, this is just the example.
I will send an
Yes.
updated one with the information we have added tonight.
Okay.
Neva, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Do you want that 4:30 meeting or the reveal party live streamed? I mean, you're gonna get more people. People are visual today. If they can see stuff, great. If they can't, it's, you know.
The 4:30 one is just her having a meeting with the people who are running the committees, so she's just telling them about their job. Or the volunteers are specifically doing those committee things, so not everybody will have to see that one, but the actual design, reveal, I would recommend that.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
So then did I misunderstand that you just said at 4:30? I thought you said the community and anyone who's
So
interested in
anyone
volunteering.
interested in volunteering with it, not,
So
it's
what
not
is-
a community feedback time, it's for anybody who's interested in volunteering.
But I'm just saying, would you want that to get out to people that may not be at that meeting, that there's opportunities to volunteer, or you don't, and that's okay?
No, I will just, let us clarify with her what she's covering that meeting, because my understanding originally was it was only for the committee heads.
That was what the Bible says, the park Bible. However, you're correct. This says that this is just for the design heads. This says it's for anyone interested in being part of it.
So I think, yeah, I mean, if you're available and you wanna do it, I don't think it's.
Knowing ahead of time, we can be available so that if you want it live stream, so you have the ability to get more out
I
there.
would suggest if you wanna volunteer to do that, but if the board is asking that to be videotaped, it would probably fall under Kansas Open Meetings Act.
Oh, cause now
And there
it's
would be, you
becoming
would
a,
have to retain those, so if you
thing.
wanna volunteer to do it, we're not asking you to do it.
that's it, like if you want to.
We're
you're
willing to
welcome.
volunteer, and we actually do store all of the videos on a YouTube channel, so they are available permanently to the public.
Perfect, okay, I appreciate that, thank you.
So within the committee meeting, anyone who's interested, would that be like, I'm doing the volunteer, I'm in charge of getting volunteers, I would be at that meeting?
Yes.
Okay.
Are you in charge of getting volunteers? I thought you said you just wanted to help.
No, she's on that committee.
She's
I'm
on
on
a
that.
committee,
Yes.
yeah, but she's not heading the committee.
Correct.
Correct. Okay.
However,
I was just
the
clarifying.
last thing that I wanna try to cover, just really quickly, so I can get everybody back to 8, is we have 2 right now, so again, Connor and his wife, right now. We still need a couple more. So for the volunteer meeting
Fundraising.
and fundraising.
Volunteers and fundraising.
Yes.
Does-
Volunteer and fundraising.
Does anyone know Katie Orr? She's the gal that came to the meeting
Yes.
and talked. I sent her a message on Facebook, but we
If
are
you're
not
not friends, she
friends,
might not
so
know.
I don't know if she actually saw it.
I see her
Because
walking
she
back to
talked-
her all the time.
Okay. Would anyone mind talking to her that actually knows her? It's possible she saw my messages and just was like, nah, I don't want to do
I
that.
don't have her number, but I have her.
Do you want to reach out to her? Okay.
And if you see her, you might just to see if she'd be, because she was someone that we had highlighted, I know she had offered it when she was here.
Yeah.
But we had highlighted that she might be great for volunteers or fundraising.
Yeah, fundraising because she said she had
Yeah,
grant
she had
experience.
Grants experience.
Yeah.
For that. So, and then again, we still need somebody for volunteers. So we would like to try to have, and I know there's not a lot of information about it, it's kind of why we put out the job description, so people understood what they were gonna take on for that.
Well, I think, the time frames that somebody's not thinking they're gonna be from
Right.
sun up to sundown.
Right.
Doing stuff, it's what, 4-hour increments?
Talk about the
For the
day,
actual
the day
bill.
of the
Hold on,
bill.
let's talk about that
Okay.
differently, that's why, again, I wanna try to respect everybody's time, and I have to be honest with my wife and go to therapy. Yeah, so specifically those 2 are the ones that we need right now, that we're trying to highlight before. And again, it all kind of depends on whether it gets approved and all of that, but we'll give you as much information as I can about what we're going to do. And that's what's on the job descriptions, as well as in that link, that's in that QR code, on that flyer and everything as well.
What were the 2, fundraising and?
Fundraising and volunteers
Yeah,
are the only 2 we
kind of
don't
those
have
community.
people for specifically right now.
You need leaders for those?
Yes,
Yes.
we need, what did she call them, coordinators?
Coordinator.
Coordinators, committee coordinators, heads up.
Oh, I'm running out of paper.
Uh-oh.
Oh, no.
Okay. I will say, I feel like the conversation that we had before, and if anybody has something that you feel like we didn't, would cover the new business piece, because that's really all I wanted to talk about under that, unless anybody had something else that they felt like they needed to say, or were gonna ask of us for that, when it came to kind of like what we're trying to do, or how we have those conversations. Yes. Is your hand raised, or you're just holding your pen like that?
Oh, I just have my pen in the air, but
Okay.
I will have a comment, if nobody else has anything to say. I'm just gonna be the last of the queue, is what I'm saying.
You're fine.
Okay. Everybody feel clear on November 17th, we're gonna provide to Nita our door prizes.
Right. Yep.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Cassie had her hand raised.
Nope, you're good.
Too late, you already raised your
No,
hand. She wants to go last.
no, okay. Go.
I just wanted clarification on approval of the minutes. Did we approve the ones that I did not have approval for in the past?
Yes.
Which was
Oh.
May
I apologize,
5th?
no, only the October ones, so.
No, we only approved it for
Yep.
I
I
just wanna make
have-
sure.
I have to send you August 8th.
August
Or
4th.
4th.
4th. But you were asking about the May 5th, July 7th, August 24th, and September 8th,
Yeah.
whether
August
we approve
27th.
those.
Did we approve those?
We did not do any kind of formal approval for that.
Okay.
Just approve them right now.
We can,
Can
as long as
we?
everybody feels
Yeah.
good with that, because I don't want you to
Right.
do it because we're running out of time or whatever.
They
I
were
wanna
all
make sure.
sent out earlier
Right.
emails, not
Yes.
this one, but earlier emails for you to read and review. It just didn't happen to get done in the meeting time.
Right, we didn't have that anybody have any concerns about doing that? Do we need to do it later, or
Yeah, we
can
can
we do it now?
at the next meeting.
I think it
next
would be
meeting.
clear to do it at the next meeting.
Okay,
so
I just wanna
we
make sure
can-
everybody has time to look it over, I want everybody to feel like they were.
If anybody
Questions?
doesn't have those meeting minutes, let me know, I will for sure send them out.
Then we can throw August 4th on there too. And
Yeah.
just-
Yeah, we'll have August 4th as well.
Okay. Is everybody okay with that?
Perfect. That was my only point of clarification.
No, you're fine. And I also would just make sure that everybody feels good about the conversation that we had, and everybody feels like we're at a good place with that. Because I don't want anybody walking away feeling like there's still something that you wanted to discuss with that. And if you don't feel comfortable meeting here, you're welcome to, again, come to me one-on-one. We can have any other discussion at any time as well.
And I would say, I mean, you guys are the ambassadors for the park board, so if people have questions, about, how are we going to be, communicating this information out, you can certainly share Facebook, flyers,
We'll do as much as we can.
and point them to Neva if there are questions, so.
And if you doesn't have the answers, she'll.
I mean, my name's in
Come
the
ask
paper
everybody.
now, so I'm
Yeah.
waiting for emails to come flooding in.
It will happen. Okay. Are we, everybody feel good to adjourn?
So I have one.
Oh, sorry, Cassie had one. Never mind.
Do we want me to see if we can do an open forum for the entire community with Lisa here?
I think we ask, and then we can decide, after that long we put the request out, does anybody, do we feel okay with that? Is she good with having like a
I
time?
can reach out to Lisa and see if we can do an open forum
Or even-
for the
Oh, yeah,
community.
I'm not gonna say that.
Is that-
On
yeah.
design day?
Or, well, we would probably have to, I don't know if there's time on design day, cause she's gonna have to go complete our school designs, and she has a 5-hour window for herself to do it.
Yeah.
So I don't know that there's another window in there.
And it depends what time she comes in on.
Yes, so that's what I'm gonna ask her is, what is your timeline on Thursday? If time is available, is this something that we are able to do?
Do we know what the schedule is for Thursday?
She
She
doesn't,
doesn't
she
have
doesn't
a
have to,
schedule.
her plan
This
was
is
to
it.
come here on Thursday.
She just gets her.
Traveling,
email.
travel is her plan for Thursday.
So she doesn't go look at the park or anything like
No,
that?
that would do it, that's her first thing in the morning.
I think so,
It's
but,
8:30.
I mean, if I was her, I would probably drive by the park, but I don't know.
She's not planning anything with us.
Yes, nothing is formally.
Okay, so Cassie, you're gonna do that. Anybody else? We good to a motion to adjourn?
Sorry.
Oh.
Sorry,
No,
one
you're fine.
other thing that Lisa has asked for is that we do have the very preliminary design that she had provided. She
Oh, that
asked
email
if
that you
there
had
was
sent.
any feedback from us. Now, I know it's now 8 o'clock and if people email their feedback to me individually, is that breaking the rules?
No, as long as it's in one person and
Okay.
then, that's it.
Okay,
Right.
so if you have feedback on the, again, very preliminary, this is her starting jump off point, but if you have any specific feedback about this design, please either shoot me a text message or send me an email with your feedback because Lisa has asked for it.
You're talking about this here?
Yes.
Well, it's kind of,
It's just very,
It's very general. They only made that for us because there was concerns about not knowing what the bang for our buck could be. Normally they don't do anything preliminary, but they did do this, and since we have it, she just asked if there was feedback from the board specifically.
well, I think we get a chance to do it more later too.
so where is the,
So this is the pavilion.
oh, okay.
So here's what I'm gonna say, is take it like a little bit and then go over it at home and then send Cassie any recommendations or.
Yeah. And just any thoughts?
So I got, one of the questions was if we could keep the swing.
I
think that's the plan.
currently the plan, we're definitely not getting rid of the swings, but
Yeah.
the swing set itself, the one that is there, as long as it's in decent repair, I believe that's part of the plan is to keep it.
Because I didn't, it's not in there, right?
Yeah, it's on the end there.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Oh,
It's in the exact same place it currently is, so my assumption is that they plan to keep it.
So then this is, oh, okay. That's a swing for,
That's in the bigger part, which I can send this back out, it's the breakdown of all the components, it's called a freedom swing. It's,
It's
for,
disabled kids?
children with low
That's one of
muscle
the
tone
88
specifically.
client pieces.
well, cause I was at the, College Hill Park and they have some really cool swings for disabled children.
Yeah.
And I thought that we needed to make sure we included something like that.
If you see any specific ones that you were like, we want that one? Take a picture of it, we can figure out.
Oh, I did.
Okay. Well,
There you go.
because we're not locked
So
into
take-
anything.
Just to reiterate, take the time to look that over and then send any comments you have to Cassie singularly, please. And then Cassie, will you just compile that and send it all back out?
I will compile it and send it back out to us and to Lisa. Yeah, it's
BCC
it's
everybody
not-
on that one.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yep, it's not.
Are we good to adjourn?
I motion we adjourn.
Love it. Second? Perfect. Thank you. Did you get that, Karen?
Yep.
Okay. Thank you, everybody.